Right, well I've just done a really long trip down south and back, and two things I've discovered while owning this car. One, the flex could be a little bit better, and two, not exactly the most comfortable of drives. So that is why I'm just ducking down the road to see one of our good new friends, to see if we can transform this car to make it handle a lot better off-road, handle a lot better on-road, more comfortable, more flex, basically tick all the green boxes. So I'll quickly duck down the roads to see our new friends. Alright, here we are, pulling up to the place in question. For a few days and see what they come up with. Oh, I'm keen. That's right, I'm here at our new friends at Superior 404 Engineering, and oh, I'm so keen to get the car back with all of its bits. You can hear it coming in. We've just done a little drive. And oh, so keen to get it back. We've got some pretty spicy things going in the GQ. It's gonna absolutely transform the car. There it goes. I want to come back, stay in a few days. Might come back and get some B-roll stuff of the whole everything going in. But next thing you'll see or hear from me is when I'm back here in a few days to collect my car and see how much better it is. But quickly run you through some before shots and a little montage of the car in its current form. Oh, way too excited, way too excited.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Right, well it's been a few weeks since I've been there as Superior, and I've been putting this car and its all new suspension through its paces, and I am over the moon with how this car is behaving and handling on and off road. It is something else. And I'm joining Mitch from Superior to help me go through this whole kit. Mate, you boys here have transformed this car. To start off with, I suppose, why it's got so much flex in this front end, and let's talk about this radius arm.
Yeah, so it's 5-link front end. So that essentially deletes all of your bind point that stops flex in the front end of a patrol. Your standard radius arms, the separation, the bushes, is the main limiting factor of flex. Yeah. With a 5-link, you virtually get rid of that bind point totally. So you're moving both your bushes to obviously two separate arms, so you've got two uppers and two lower control arms. And that just, yeah, relieves that bind point to where the front, I think when we originally designed the 5-link, I think we could get up to the maximum travel was about an 18-inch shock, was at full flex before the radius arms start to bind again, which obviously that'll never work in the front of a patrol. Yeah. But that's how well the radius arms, like the 5-link system, allows it to flex. Yeah. It's a big upgrade.
Yeah. That's half the reason why I went a 5-link, is just the stuff I do, 90% off-road, 10% on-road, and the 5-link just frees that front end amazingly. Although I made it work before by only having torn bushes, pretty much. That's the only way you can make the front end of a patrol work with standard radius arms. But that 5-link, it's changed the car. And even on-road, it still handles, well, I wouldn't say like a race car, but it's not as floaty as you'd picture it be, mixed with the sway bars and everything. It handles like nothing. But on that, to make, obviously, it travel, you're going to need shocks. Now, these aren't your normal shocks. What are we running in here?
So these are your 2.0 remote res, so our 8-stage compression adjustable 2.0s. These are to suit a 7-inch lift. Being the way we've set it up, so you run a 55mm tower and a 50mm bump extension. That's obviously make sure the shocks don't bottom out, but running them with our Hyperflex coils, even at full flex, coil's still completely captive, keeping downward pressure on the diff. That means you've got traction, just makes them perform way better off-road. Having that downward pressure on the diff all the time is definitely the way to set up any car, essentially. Makes them drive a lot better off-road when you're flexing. Keep downward traction, you don't have to rely on your lockers as much. So obviously lockers make full drives unbeatable. And yeah, the whole setup in this is designed so shocks don't bottom out, coils don't fall out, making sure it performs all the time, essentially, without having to worry about anything that's going to break whilst going through travel.
Yeah, and you mentioned those coils, Brick. Now, these are your Hyperflex coils, which only brought out recently.
No, so we didn't bring them out recently. We recently brought them back. Reason being, we just ran into production issues that everyone faced through COVID. We couldn't get a manufacturer because the steel design that this is, it's 12 stages of taper through the coil. We just couldn't get the steel through COVID. So once COVID's gone and steel production picked back up again, we can get them remade, and we're happy to finally re-release them to the public, which is a big upgrade for the patrols.
Yeah, Hyperflex coils, that's the reason why they're still in there. If you ran standard ones long enough shocks, they'll just pop out, banging and banging everywhere. Exactly. And with all these shocks, like the rears, we'll get there in a minute, but they're only just dislocating at the top. And yeah, the fronts, they're still in, they're not moving anywhere. Now, the tough reason why I've still gone Hyperflex coils is because there's basically no weight in this car, really. Like, you go, I suppose the only the really main reason is to keep lightweight car, easy way to run Hyperflex. So if you have a heavy car, there's no real point, so I'll just sag really easily.
Exactly, that's the point of a kind of a flexi coil, or any kind of like a Hyperflex coils. The way they're designed is the rate increases the more you can press the coil. So when you've got a really heavy vehicle and a big tall coil, it's just going to continue to compress that coil to the rate where it needs to hold the car up, and that's probably not going to be your desired ride height. So yeah, your Hyperflex coils, if you've got a massive touring setup, it's just not the right setup. It's where we'd look at going to a proper linear rate coil. But a light car like this that's designed that wants flex and being beaten in the bush, perfect coil.
Yeah. It's the whole thing. You've still got, these boys have their options now with both Hyperflex and your normal rated coils set up basically whatever you want. Now, moving else to everything else we've got in the front, obviously TieRods, steering dampeners, everything else.
Exactly, yeah. So obviously we've gone with all of our comp spec stuff. Make sure, obviously in the bush, there's rocks. Everyone's seen the wheeling you guys do on YouTube and that. We would never put anything other than the comp spec stuff in your car. Yeah, just to make sure you've got that lifetime warranty against bending, and gives you that security out bush that you don't have to worry about bashing. If you hit something, stop it there.
Yeah, that's amazing. That everything, you know, watching our episodes, we like to beat on our cars as much as we can, and the comp spec stuff, mate. You watch our episodes, I will be sure to beat on this gear as much as I can and really put us through its paces. And yeah, comp spec stuff all the way. Now, I think that wraps up the front end, I believe.
Yeah, that's pretty well everything on the front, definitely.
Yeah, so from here we'll go into the rear ends where there's a bit more party happening. Go. Right, well here we go at the rear end of the car, and we all know that patrols can flex really well the rear ends, but if you make them long enough with the shocks, they rear steer like mad, and I've experienced that. So to fix that, long arms. Now, do you want to run us through those long arms real quick?
Long arms are the greatest upgrade you can do to the rear end of a patrol, plain and simple. They make patrols drive better. It's not only for flex, they'll make them drive better, corner better, accelerate better. And then yeah, flex, you're getting rid of that rear steer. Obviously there's limits of what we can do with lengths. Obviously the longer you go, the less chance of rear steer you've got. But yeah, so these arms are 300mm longer than the factory arm, making them, I think they're about 990 long. I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, so they're way longer. As you can see, the wheel's not trying to tuck up underneath the car. That's the main issue. You get a rear steer, and it really pulls the diff forward when you're running a factory length control arm with big flex like this car. So yeah, long arms, they're good for flex, good for drivability. They're just an all-round, probably my favourite upgrade you can do to a patrol.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get some footage. I ran long shocks in this before with short arms, and it was stupid rear steer. But these long arms, you see, it's done nothing to the rear, and it still holds it perfectly, so you'll be able to flex it out and it won't rear or try and go under itself or push it away or anything like that. Obviously, still running the Hyperflex coils in there, but to make sure that they stay in, we're running your dropout cones and retainers.
And
they pretty much just hold them in, but really, don't need them so much. Dropout cones, they still, because the Hyperflex, they only just dislocate at the top at max flex, and that's basically all you want.
That's it. We recommend, even when running like Hyperflex coils and we know that they're keeping them seated, we recommend running a dropout cone and retainer, pure security. In case, like, for all you know, something catastrophic could happen, something break, the diff just want to walk out, they're going to be that point that retains it. Just makes it, just a bit of security there. But yeah, although with these coils, they're not 100% relied on, I guess you could say. They're just more as a fail-safe sort of point, but just helps it as well.
Yeah, all good. And then sway bars. Sway bars a big one. I've still got one in the rear of this. Before the last setup, I didn't run any at all. But now I've got, what's it, your Superflex
sway bars, front end.
Now, what's good about those is that on-road, it handles beautifully. It still keeps the car nice and stable, but off-road, it still allows all the flex front and rear. That's what's good about it. So what makes
them they're a lot longer than factory. That's the main limiting factor of Patrol sway bars. You don't see it so much in the cruisers because they have a long sway bar from the factory. But it's mainly your front arm that pulls forward from the diff to your sway bar link. We extend that because that's, as the car goes through flex, the longer that arm is, it's like less chance of it pulling tight, and that's what your limiting factor is. Like obviously you can see the rear sway bar is fully connected, big flex. So yeah, they're really designed to get big flex while still being connected, and then making the car drive nice while it's on the road, because they are a heavy duty upgrade as well. You've got a 24mm thick rear and a 27mm front. So yeah, it just makes them a lot smoother on road, and then not having to disconnect them off road's a big help of not having to climb around in the mud and disconnect them is a big upgrade for patrols as well.
In saying that, I have disconnected and taken out my front end, but it's only because in the patrols they hang down all below the rear or the front diff and everything, so just in case I don't want to hit rocks and obviously bend and everything. But still, even with the front out, I've been like that for the past few weeks now, and it still handles pretty bloody well on road. I'd be really surprised actually. Even with the 5-link long arms, it doesn't try and roll over every single corner you take and whatever. But with them both in, everything is nice and stable on road, but as soon as you take it off road, you still get all of your travel that you need to. And sway bars, even just off road alone, having them in, they still make a big difference. Force the front end to work more, everything like that. And what else have we got? We've got upward control on the
so adjustable uppers to correct your pinion angle. Obviously get rid of your driveline vibration, make everything sure it's all aligned as factory, but just at your new lift height. And then the same with the adjustable Panhard rod. Again, both have comp spec, so they come with a lifetime warranty against bending. So they can stop beating. But yeah, so the rear end's all aligned perfectly and purely designed for big flex. These shocks, again, obviously 2.0 remote res in the rear. They're at 13-inch travel in the rear. That's the biggest we make for the back of a patrol as like a bolt-in replacement. And then the same 80 series bump stop conversion with a 50mm extension to avoid them bottoming out. And you can obviously achieve some very big flex at the back of a patrol.
But rim patrols, they work really well, really easily. But obviously mixed with a couple of things to stop them, obviously rear steering, popping out coils, everything like that. It's just everything. And I noticed that too, with big flex, the Tailshaft Notch, in the patrol, the fat end is usually up at the gearbox ends. You can do the flip, but if you keep chasing more flex, you notice that it keeps hitting on that cross member. It's another thing that these guys do here, is that take out that cross member notch, and now it doesn't touch at all.
Obviously save Tailshaft from getting a nice bend in it or dent. Cross member chops is a given for virtually anything above a 4-inch lift on a patrol. You have to do a cross member chop. Or you'll be destroying tail shafts all the time.
And then I think that pretty much covers everything. Obviously, pretty much everything in this, what's good about it is bolt in. And I think you need a weld really is the cross member and the long arms.
The long arms, The
only thing that's a weld in, but everything you pretty much do at home if you really want to, or you can come in here like I did and live with the boys for a few days and they handle the car. And you can see just how well it does. They've looked after us and everything you can get on this car, you can just get off the shelf or online if you really wanted to. The whole thing, we're showing everything, putting it through its pace so you guys can see how much abuse this gear can take. And if you're like, I want everything on Nathan's car, you can come here and you just get the whole kit, which is what is, I think, pretty bloody good. So be sure to look after, So one other thing about this kit is that they've recently started doing their, was it VSB legal?
So VSB 14 is essentially the guideline or the rule book that the kits are approved under. We've done all your lane change testing, brake tests. We do a few extra tests for out when we release our illegal kits, purely for the fact is the more you give the government, the better. Comes to anything, if you can give them more data than they require, they're obviously going to approve it. So yeah, this kit is fully legal. We're just waiting on the government to sign off on the paperwork, essentially. And as anyone knows with government, the moment you involve them, timelines get blown out. And that's the only thing that we're sort of struggling with at the moment. The approvals are definitely on their way. It's just getting that exact printout from the government that says, this is your approval number. That's all we're waiting on. We've had a verbal approval. We just don't have the paperwork to be able to sign off on it 100% yet.
I think that rough capsule covers everything that's on the car that's been done. Starting next week will be our first episode dropping where we test this new gear. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you go over, check out the Superior boys. Make sure you support them because they're supporting us. And yeah, thanks to the whole team here. Thanks to Mitch for coming out and filming with us. This pretty much wraps it up. I'll leave a little montage of what to expect with this new gear. Let's go put it to the test.
I don't know how to stop, I just go till I drop. Whether it's working or shots, give it all that I got. You can watch me work in my element. Anyone in the way is irrelevant. You wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent, cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me, put it on the line and you'll come up empty. If I got time, I'm deadly, never caught off guard, no, I'm always ready. I got a hand real steady, look me in the eye and you'll see no hezzy. About to get real messy, I'll put you in a grave 6 feet like Kenny.